Does your audience expect you to say something about the pandemic? I mean, how do you balance out your compassion as a human being with your content production plan because you're a strategic podcaster, right? Or maybe you should just stay silent? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. If you're like me, your inbox, and I hate my inbox, by the way, your inbox has been flooded with every single company, it seems like, you have ever given your email address to, letting you know what they are doing about COVID-19 and the coronavirus. Of course, some of those are good to know. I want to hear what the airlines are doing to keep us safe in that collective environment that we really can't escape from for several hours at a time. I want to know what the local businesses that I might still need to frequent, as long as we're not on lockdown, might need to, or doing to make sure that I am safe if I have to go inside of there. Some of those are helpful. Yeah, some aren't likely, right? Because, you know, we just get overloaded by these things, and it's not the kind of business that we really have to go to. But those people who work at the businesses who put out those emails are struggling with the same question lots of podcasters are struggling with right now, and it's, should you say something? Should you let your audience know that you acknowledge the fact that this thing is happening to the entire world? And even though you're a podcaster, most podcasters, like me, sit alone or remotely with other people who are in other locations, and social distancing is great in the podcasting world. We still have audiences out there who wonder what's going on, and we're still human beings, and we feel a desire, a question, like whether or not we should say something during this time. You know, listener Jason Sacco, he does a podcast about, oh my goodness, I can't even pronounce it, ankylosing spondylitis. Oh goodness, anyhow, he's wondering what he's supposed to say to his audience. Now, for his audience, they're immunosuppressed, and so that's definitely something I want to hear about. But I had another client of mine over the weekend who doesn't do a show about current events, who doesn't really do a show about what's happening in the world today at any given time, ask what they should do. Should they say something? Should they let the people know out there what's going on? And we went back and forth on whether or not that was a good idea or not. One of the things that we worked on was reducing the timeless factor. That's one of the beauties about podcast content that's not news, current events, is there's an evergreen factor. And the minute you put something in that makes it non-evergreen, it's odd. If you say Merry Christmas, because it's, a Merry Christmas time podcast you're putting out around December 25th, and someone decides to listen to it on June 16th, that seems a little weird, because they're time shifted from when you actually record the content. So if you do record something now and put it in your episodes, is it going to make sense later on? Also, you run the risk of putting something in there and people go, wait a minute, you're not a current events, you're not a news show, should I? I don't want to hear this from you. It's a struggle. What if you're doing a series? You're doing a 6-part series and it's week 3 right now. Do you put a little note to your audience about how you're doing and hope that they're all okay at the beginning of your 4th episode of this series, which has nothing to do with pandemics? I mean, it could really impact your content from now on if you do something like that. So these are all questions that you have to answer for yourself. And I've got a couple of suggestions, things to think about. One thing I want you to think about is maybe not replacing your current podcast episodes. Maybe not putting a note at the beginning of your next episodes. Now, obviously, if you already do something like that, if that's part of your normal format and it fits in easily, great. But chances are you're not asking the question if you already have an easy solution for it. It's those of you that don't. So just keep this in mind. We now have bonus podcast content episodes. We can put out a bonus episode to our audience whenever we want. And yeah, still, most podcast listening apps consume content in a linear fashion, so whatever we put out as a bonus episode will go to everyone, and there is a chance that somebody brand new to your show will grab that episode and assume your episode is about this current pandemic, so don't do that. Make sure you let people know that it's a bonus episode. But I would totally put out a bonus episode. Oh, and here's the deal. I've seen some mistakes in the bonus episode, or I've seen people make some missteps with bonus episodes. Bonus episodes can be whatever they need to be. They do not need to follow the format of your show. If you normally do 45-minute episodes of an audio drama with 9 different people, you don't have to write an episode about the coronavirus or COVID-19. You can put out a 30-second, a 90-second bonus episode that's just about that, to say, I'm here, we're okay, maybe we're not okay, here's our issues going on. Just keep people updated and informed. Or just let them know that they're thinking about them. That's okay. I think silence is worse than nothing at all. If you feel, here's your guiding principle, here's your North Star. If you feel like you need to say something to your audience, either to let them know how you are, let them know that you're in this together, let them know changes to your production schedule, whatever, I think you can do that. I think you should do that. Now, how you do that is up to you. Obviously, don't forget, your podcast is more than just the audio you put out. You got a website probably, right? You've got social media content, right? But chances are you have more people who are listening to your words than are reading the other things. Sure, the audience numbers might look bigger on your social properties, but let's face it, most people don't see your posts. So make sure that you do say something if you want to say something, but it's okay to say that something just as a bonus episode. I may talk a little bit more about bonus episodes because I think that they are underutilized. But yeah, kick out a bonus episode. And I know it takes time and effort, but make sure that it takes less time and effort, hopefully, if it works for you, than a regular episode. You're going to have to invest some time to put it out there just to keep your audience updated, and I think that's actually a good thing. Now, that's one way I'm thinking about doing it. In fact, I guess I just did it by putting this episode out. I didn't do it as a bonus episode. For me, it's a little different because I do 4 episodes a week. It gets a little tighter when you're on a daily schedule. Maybe then it matters for you to do it actually as a full episode. Decisions, decisions, decisions. So one thing you can do during this time of crisis, obviously, is keep communicating with your fellow podcasters, the people that are in this same boat with you, struggling through. What are you going to do to tell your audience? Have a conversation. Strike up a conversation in a Slack group, on a Facebook group, wherever, and ask the question. Tell them, hey, Evo says we should be telling our audience, even if we're not a news show, what's going on with the coronavirus, at least what's going on with us at COVID-19 and how we're impacted and all these things. What do you think about that? Start that conversation. Tell them I did it. That way you don't take all the heat. I'll take the heat for you. Anyhow, I hope you're doing well during this time of coronavirus. We're okay on this side doing this social distancing, quarantining methods on our own. But you know what's going to happen tomorrow? I'll do it again. That's right. I'll see you tomorrow for another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers.